The Alien Council gifted me their smallest warrior. Now she thinks I'm her husband. Beginning. The stars stretched out in a glittering ocean, and my ship, the Artemis Voyager, drifted quietly between the great void and the fragile borders of alien empires. I had been summoned by the Interstellar Council, an assembly of countless species that govern trade, diplomacy, and uneasy peace across half the galaxy. Me, just a human diplomat from a backwater planet still learning to play among the stars. When I landed on Velthor Prime, the Council's shining hub world, I expected long speeches, tedious negotiations, and maybe a meal of something unpronounceable. What I didn't expect was to be called into the central chamber under the gaze of thousands of alien eyes, each pair, whether faceted, glowing, or lidless, watching me as though I were prey. At the heart of the chamber stood the High Speaker, a towering crystalline being whose voice resonated directly inside my skull. Human envoy Daniel Reeve, it intoned, "The Council recognizes your species' courage during the border skirmishes with the Dravari Dominion. You fought without expectation of reward. Therefore, we bestow upon you a gift." A gift? From them? My mouth went dry. With a sweeping gesture, the chamber's floor split, and a platform rose slowly into view. On it stood a warrior. At least, I thought she was a warrior. She was small, barely up to my chest in height, with delicate armor that shimmered like starlight. Her hair was a silvery cascade down her back, and her eyes burned with a strange violet fire. Though her stature was small, the aura around her was fierce, like a coiled blade ready to strike. "This is Kalara the THRYNN," the speaker continued. "Smallest of her kind, but undefeated in ritual combat. She is bonded to you, human Daniel, as both guardian and life partner. Treat her well." The chamber erupted in alien approval, 1,000 limbs clapping, mandibles clicking, and wings humming. My stomach twisted. "Life partner?" Kalara stepped forward, eyes locked on mine, and in a voice firm yet melodic she said, "Husband." I almost choked. "Middle." It took me 3 days to convince myself this wasn't some interstellar prank. Kalara moved onto my ship as if it were her own, rearranging my quarters, sharpening her curved blades in the galley, and glaring suspiciously at anyone who came too close to me. Everywhere we went, she introduced herself as my wife. Not companion, not partner. Wife. At first, I tried reasoning with her. "Kalara, listen. We don't do marriages like this. There's paperwork, choices, a lot of dates, and awkward small talk before anything serious." She tilted her head, uncomprehending. The council decreed, "You are my chosen." To question it dishonors us both. She was dead serious. The more time I spent with her, the more I realized she wasn't just some ceremonial gift. She was dangerous. Despite her size, she moved with predator grace. I caught her practicing combat drills in the cargo bay, each strike fast enough to make my eyes blur. She slept lightly, hand never far from her blade, and when she cooked, she made meals of strange glowing roots and protein slivers that, surprisingly, didn't taste half bad. But there was another side to her. When she thought no one was watching, Kalara would stare out at the stars with a look that almost broke me. A deep sadness lingered in her eyes, as if she'd lost something long ago. One night, after a long silence between us, she finally spoke. "The THRYNN warriors bond only once. It is more than law, it is survival. Our numbers dwindle. To gift me to you is to entwine our fates. You may not understand, but I do not take this lightly." Her voice was soft, almost trembling. I realized then that, to her, this wasn't a joke or misunderstanding. She wasn't pretending. She truly believed I was her husband, bound by honor, fate, and council decree. And as much as I wanted to protest, part of me couldn't help but admire her loyalty. Our strange partnership was tested sooner than expected. The Dravari Dominion, the very empire humans had defied during the skirmishes, sent warships into neutral space. My orders were to negotiate peace, but the Dravari didn't come for words. They came for me. The attack was sudden. The Artemis Voyager was dragged out of FTL near a barren moon. My hull screamed under the Dominion's plasma fire. I scrambled to stabilize shields, alarms blaring in my ears. Kalara didn't hesitate. She strapped on her armor, grabbed her blades, and turned to me with fierce determination. They come for you. They must pass me first. Kalara, wait! I tried to stop her, but she was already gone, slipping into the docking bay where the Dominion boarding pods latched onto my ship. Through the surveillance feed, I watched in disbelief as my smallest warrior tore through armored Dravari soldiers twice her size. She moved like lightning, her blades singing arcs of silver and violet fire. Each strike was precise, each movement a dance of death. By the time I reached her, the bay was a battlefield of fallen invaders. Kalara stood at the center, bloodied but unbowed, chest heaving with exhaustion. I rushed to her side. "You're hurt." She shook her head, wiping alien blood from her cheek. "A warrior's duty. A wife's duty." Something inside me shifted then. I couldn't deny it anymore. This wasn't just obligation. Kalara had chosen to stand by me, fight for me, protect me, whether I wanted it or not. Maybe, just maybe, she wasn't wrong. Ending the Dominion attack was only the beginning. Word spread across the galaxy that the Council's gift to humanity had defended one of its envoys with unstoppable fury. Suddenly, every faction wanted to test us, to see whether the smallest THRYNN warrior and her human husband could withstand greater storms. Kalara and I grew closer with every challenge. She taught me the way of her people's combat rituals, how every strike carried meaning, every defense was a vow. I, in turn, taught her about humanity, the music, the laughter, the strange comfort of holding hands beneath starlight. There were arguments, of course. She hated when I tried to put myself in danger. I hated when she treated herself as expendable. But each fight ended the same way, with mutual respect, a grudging smile, and a bond that grew stronger with every scar we shared. Months later, at another council session, the High Speaker addressed us again. "Human Daniel, THRYNN Kalara, your union has become symbol and legend. Where once the stars held suspicion, now they whisper of your bond. Peace grows stronger because of you. For once, I didn't feel like a pawn. I felt like part of something bigger." When the session ended, Kalara stood by my side, violet eyes meeting mine with that same fierce determination she'd shown the first day we met. "You doubted husband," she teased softly. "Still do," I admitted with a grin. "But maybe I'm learning." She reached for my hand, her small fingers tightening around mine with surprising strength. And as the council chamber roared with approval once again, I realized the truth. She might have been gifted to me as a warrior, but Kalara had become far more than that. She was my shield, my partner, my heart in a galaxy that often felt too vast and cold. Perhaps I hadn't chosen her at first. But now, looking at her, I knew without doubt, I wouldn't have it any other way.